first out of the gate, the Mariners, they beat the Diamondbacks 3-2 in 10 innings to complete the sweep, Chris.
I mean, it's just, you look at this team, you go back to that sweep of the A's, and you start seeing a team that's just playing better baseball, fundamentally better on defense. The emergence of Victor Robles, who gets the game-winning hit, on Sunday, and what he's meant to this team since he's been here. He's just provided a spark. The young guys, Paul, they're hitting, and pitching just continues to do what the pitching does. I mean, and we're going to get into the piggyback. Is it working? Do you want to keep seeing it? We're not going to see it for a few weeks here because they're going to go back to a six-man rotation, but for me, it's consistency, and we're starting to see that, especially with this team, hitting-wise, defensive-wise right now, Paul.
Yeah. We talked to Jake Garcia last week, who covers the Diamondbacks down in Arizona, and he said this team hadn't really been tested yet, and he knew this weekend series against Seattle was going to be a good test for them, and clearly they failed in that test because the Mariners came up with some great pitching. And, you look at the pitching, and you talked about the piggyback pitching, but Emerson Hancock is on tap for tonight. Every game the Mariners throw out a pitcher, it's like if you're the opponent, you're thinking, you got to be kidding me. When are we going to face a bullpen start like the Mets are going to do tonight? They're going to throw a guy for the first inning out of the bullpen because they don't have a starter named. So every team has its problems, but the Mariners, when it comes to pitching, certainly don't have any problems at all. So just really playing some good baseball.
Pitching and defense is how you win in Major League Baseball. Obviously, you need some hits as well. They've been getting those, and Jake talked about this team not being tested. I would argue that and say, the A's have a very good hitting lineup. They went into Sacramento, and they shut down that A's team.
Yeah, but he was talking about the Diamondbacks not being tested. And that coming into the weekend series against the Mariners, that would be a really good test for the Diamondbacks. Yeah. And obviously they got swept, so I'd say they failed that test. But to your point, the Athletics played like garbage in the three series against the Mariners, and the Mariners did what they wanted to do and had to do. They just pounded the A's for 3 straight games. Then they came back and beat a team of a different caliber and beat them for 3 straight games.
Yeah, and I go back to the bats coming alive, and we heard it so much from Dan Wilson. We're getting traffic. We're just not able to get the traffic in. Well, the Mariners now have 9 or more hits in 7 straight games. J.P. Crawford, couple home runs on Friday. Julio Rodriguez, his best May ever. Dominic Canzone, Luke Raley, Cole Young, all coming through with clutch hits. I mentioned Victor Robles providing a spark. Here's Dan Wilson on what he thinks is causing the Mariners to play so well.
We've seen a ton of consistency on both sides, and that's been huge. I think we had 11 hits today. Just swinging the bat really well, and what we've seen on the mound has been so consistent. And when you're doing both of those things and you're playing good defense, good things happen and consistently. And I think we feel like we're in a much better spot that way. These guys. They just continue to respond and continue to play good baseball, and that's what you love to see, and I think the confidence continues to grow.
I sat here on this show, I think it was about 10 days ago. I said we need consistency, we need communication. The communication was regarding the piggyback and how Miller and Castillo just didn't seem to know what was going on. We feel like maybe that's been solved a little bit there. Didn't see any major blow-ups at yesterday's game. And Dan talks about the consistency with this ball team. We are starting to see that. We already knew, Paul, this team could pitch. Now we're seeing what happens when they start hitting. And there's still some signs that this team could get better with the return of Cal Raleigh. He was at the ballpark this weekend. Brendan Donovan continues to improve. But taking a look at May, 15-13 record. The ERA, 6th best in Major League Baseball, 5th best whip. I mean, the slugging percentage, 414. At times, it seems like this team couldn't do anything, and all of a sudden they're 8th best in slugging percentage. And how about that? 42 home runs. That is tied for first in Major League Baseball. And they're getting them from everywhere right now, Paul. The fact that J.P. Crawford, for the first time in his career, has a multi-home run game, it's just fun to watch this team play right now.
Yeah, well, no team in baseball has hit more home runs than the Mariners over the last 7 games. They have 17 homers in that stretch. So as you saw there on the graphic, this team doing a lot of good things offensively. Let's take a look at the AL West standings real quick. The Mariners pushed their lead to 2.5 games over the A's and Rangers. Astros are 4.5 back, followed by the Angels. We talk about the piggyback stats. They have been impressive. Bryce Miller started Sunday, gave up only 1 hit and 5 scoreless innings. He threw just 71 pitches. Man, talk about a light day's work, and he brought that on himself. Luis Castillo throws the final 5 of the 10-inning win. It gives up 2 runs on 2 hits, Chris, and then really outside of a wild pitch and a sac fly, they don't get those 2 runs.
You mentioned Miller throwing 71 pitches. How about this? Castillo also threw 71 pitches. They match each other. I mean, we have sat here on this show. Others on sports radio have talked about how they do not like this. A lot of people say put Castillo in the bullpen. We're going to get some thoughts on that. I know Softy is a big fan of that. But you can't argue right now this is working. And it's not only helping them get wins, they're 2-1 with the piggyback, 27 innings pitched. They've only given up 5 earned runs, as you mentioned, a 1.67 ERA. But here's the other thing. You look at the last 2 games they've gone with this piggyback approach. What's the big key? The bullpen is resting. Nobody else in the bullpen is pitching. So you're giving Munoz a day off. You're giving Brash a day off. You're giving Cooper Criswell a day off. And when you look at a long, long season, those days will add up, and they will help this bullpen stay healthy.
Yeah, like you said, you're getting great starting pitching, but it's coming to the point where, you can see why some of these guys are only allowed to pitch 6 innings. They give the Mariners a quality start because you want to get the relievers in there to get their work in and keep them sharp as well. And, Brian Wu looked incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely phenomenal on Saturday. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 9 strikeouts. This is what I love about when I watch his game. He is mixing things up. He's known for his 4-seam fastball. That was looking good. He had 4 strikeouts on the 4-seamer. He also had 1 strikeout with his slider. He had 3 strikeouts, I think it was, with his sweeper, and he picked up a K with the sinker. So he's kind of he's using his whole arsenal. And Paul, I'm getting this from my son, who's a college baseball player.
You're just like dipping into stat nerd status right there, Chris.
Well,
be careful.
Here's the thing: is if you're a hitter, okay. Wu's going to bring the 4-seamer. I've got to focus on that 4. Now he's mixing in the sweeper, the sinker. And I'm telling you what, the Diamondbacks, they were just lost in every at-bat. And this is a very good Diamondbacks team. Wu, by the way, has picked up a win in 4 of his last 5 starts. He explained how a couple tough stretches along the way has helped this Mariners team get better.
Honestly, I feel like we kind of took a step back in the sense of just like not trying to do too much. I think it feels like we're just playing baseball right now. I think when you're scuffling and not playing up to your standards, you look a bunch of different ways of what do we need to change and what do we need to do. And sometimes when you have such as good a team as we do, sometimes it's just like taking a step back and trying to just relax and let your game kind of come out on its own. You try to do too much and you press, you just don't quite get the results that you want. And I think that's what we're doing right now. We're just playing baseball.
And Brian Wu had talked about that a couple weeks ago. He had a rough start on the road, and he just felt like he was pressing a little bit. And here's where this Mariners team can be very dangerous. Iron sharpens iron as we sharpen each other, and this pitching staff just kind of continues to sharpen each other, and we're seeing that from the performances night in and night out. It's like, okay, you guys did this. I want to be better than you the next night. So it's a fun group to watch right now. And I continue to say this, they are doing this without their leader, Cal Raleigh. I mean, when you talk about the leader of this pitching staff, really, it's that catcher, Cal Raleigh. He's not even there. So credit to Mitch Garver, and what he's doing in that backup role. So I'm liking it, Paul. Knocking on wood.
Yeah.
I understand the baseball season is a roller coaster ride, and tomorrow I could be going a different tune if we get blanked by the Mets tonight. But I'm liking where they're at.
Yeah, well, Cal spoke over the weekend, kind of letting everybody know how much he misses being in the clubhouse and how boring it is. Most athletes will tell you when they have to go out and do these rehab assignments, it's boring, and it takes a lot of discipline to just stay with it and get after it. So good to see Cal Raleigh with a big smile on his face over the weekend. Got to say something about Randy Arozarena because he seems like a daily topic on this show, but it's a guy in a contract year who is tearing it up. He's a few ticks away from hitting 300 on the season. A couple of strong performances over the weekend, Chris, and this guy is setting himself up for a major contract as he hits free agency at the end of the year.
And you can say what you want about his play on left field, Paul, but he is just doing it with the bat. You mentioned he had some big at-bats. nothing bigger than that one on Friday night where he just came through. Pitch was outside. He found a way, found the hole out there in right center, brought home the game-winning run. That's why you see him celebrating right there. He has been clutch for this Mariners team, and you need him in the lineup every single night. And while Randy's heating up and he's been hot, there's another young outfielder by the name of Julio Rodriguez, Paul, looking pretty good as well.
Yeah, we've talked about Julio's numbers this season. He's second on the team in RBIs, second with 12 home runs. He's done a nice job reminding his teammates of the standard expected on this team.
We all know we are hard workers. We care about the team. We care about winning. We want to be in the playoffs. We want to win the World Series. And I feel like we all know that that's our goal. And, like, you know, since we've been together so much and, like, for a good chunk of time, I feel like that's what kind of have helped us kind of, like, be together, you know, and, like, really, like, pick each other when you know, when things are going rough, because we know we play baseball. You know, we're baseball players. We know this is a game of struggles, and it's cool, you know, like to be doing this, and, like, you know, if it's going through tough times sometimes with these guys, like it's cool going through that with them too.
Man, that smile rarely leaves that guy's face. And, you know, it's interesting, Chris, because throughout the season, even in the early weeks of this season, team was struggling. But the one of the guys who certainly knew this team had all the talent from pitching to hitting was Julio Rodriguez. They would ask him after the game, hey, what's wrong with the team? He's like, nothing, man. We're stacked, and it's going to come around. And he just played that easy, chill role, and look at it now. Everything's coming around for this team.
He has been just playing loose. He is having fun out there. We're seeing that with the way he is hitting. He's approaching. He's not swinging at bad pitches that he's done in the past. He's just playing great baseball right now. And Paul, I think it would only be fair for us on this show, because so many people on social media on this show have criticized what manager Dan Wilson has done in the months of April, early May, some of the decision making. But if you look back at these past 6 games, you also need to compliment Dan Wilson. If we're going to sit here and take shots at him, he has been very good these past 6 games, making the right moves, having the guys hitting late, using the bullpen. I think there was a lot of concern. Criswell had to come in after Munoz, and Criswell took care of business there. So he's punching all the right buttons. So if we're all going to sit there and critique when things go wrong, you should compliment when they go right as well.
Keep in mind, this is only his second full season as a manager, too. So, I mean, players go out there and make mistakes. They're allowed to make mistakes. The Colt Emersons of the world, the Cole Youngs of the world, making mistakes, learning, and getting better. You got to give that to Dan Wilson as well. And any manager in his second full season, he's going to make mistakes and learn from them. So he's done a nice job so far.
Paul, 5 walk-off wins already this season for the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, looking good. First place by 2.5.